Welcome back to the final part of Betracingnation here on Sports and Night Live. We've covered Chester tomorrow, and Lingfield hosts a superb card actually on Saturday, and the Oaks Trial and the Derby Trial are two featured races there. And we've got on the other end of the phone Neil Mackenzie-Ross. Good evening, Neil.
Hi Pete, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks very much for joining us. I mean, I think we all want to know, obviously we are 48 hours from the big day, obviously you've got racing there tomorrow, what the current state of play is with the course at the moment.
Yeah, we had some light rain throughout certainly the morning into this afternoon. We had 4.6 millimetres in total. On the round course, ground is now good to firm in places, and on the straight course, from the 5 furlong marker down to the finishing line is good, and then the top between the 7/140 and the 5 is actually soft.
From that point of view, it must be very hard to work on that kind of course with so many differentials between each part of it. I mean, is there any plan to water any aspect of it, or...?
It's been a tricky forecast all week, to be honest, because like a week ago it looked like we were going to have a dry, fine week all week, and you know, I was sort of thinking we may well have to water, and then you know, as the weekend went on last weekend, and you know, started to look like we were going to get some showers, and you know, I was hoping they came, and then just the last couple of days, the showers have changed from to sort of longer periods of rain. So it's been a frustrating forecast, you know, over the last few days. And
in terms of the trials, always, well, they certainly were more geared towards the Oaks and the Derbys before, but you must be pleased with the turnout for Saturday. Some good runners and some top trainers there on Saturday. Yeah, definitely, really pleased. I mean, this will be my 9th Derby trial, and I can't remember, to be honest. You know, 9 runners. I think we had a few more when we run, the one year we ran it on the poly track, funny enough. But 9 runners in that, and 11 on the in the Oaks, with some really interesting contenders. So yeah, overall, very, very pleased. And what kind of crowd are you expecting on Saturday, Neil? Yeah, I hope that we'll be looking towards getting towards 5,000. Would be a nice crowd. You know. You can still buy tickets online and get them at the advanced ticket price, discounted price, so still walk up on the gate. And a couple of things away from Saturday. Obviously, you had some, talking about the weather, you had some severe weathers in the winter. How did you manage with that? Because you had floods there at some point, didn't you? And presumably that's all out of the way now, and you're all full steam ahead. Yeah, you know, the rain was very strong through, obviously, and heavy throughout the winter, and that certainly knocked out a few jumps fixtures, unfortunately. But on the all-weather track, on the poly track, you know, deals with it and copes with it extremely well, and fortunately, you know, didn't hold us up there. And you must have been really pleased with the all-weather championships that hopefully come back again to Lingfield next season. That was a terrific advert for racing on Good Friday. Yeah, they were brilliant. Thank you. They were, you know, certainly all coming back next year, and it was a fantastic day, and everyone involved certainly enjoyed it. And you know, it was a really good advert, wasn't it? In grandeur, winning 115 rated horse. You know, topping off what was a really superb day. And finally, before you go, there's some, obviously, I like going Saturday evenings there. When do the Saturday evenings kick on? Have you got any sort of concerts planned this year, or is there anything? Yeah, there's the usual Saturday evenings at Lingfield. They start June the 7th, I think it is, this year, with numerous bands going on after it. So probably the best thing to look at is the website, lingfieldpark.co.uk. OK, lovely. Well, thanks very much indeed. We're just about to preview the Derby and Oaks Trial, but all the very best, and hopefully you get what you want, just a little bit more rain in the courses, parts of the course that need it. Yeah, I mean, overall, to be honest, now I'd rather we didn't get any more. To be honest, right, okay. Now quite happy where we are. Okay. It looks like tomorrow will be relatively dry, but there may be a bit, but there may well be some on Saturday morning. But hopefully, it can stay away now. Lovely. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, Neil. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, that course at Lingfield is a perfect example, and it does all show me. A bit like Epsom, if you're going to do a Derby trial or an Oaks trial, the ideal place to do it if you can't run at Epsom is at Lingfield, because the way the course is configured, it's very, very similar.
Yeah, also, I've long believed that it is one of the best Derby trials. I mean, we've got so many horses out of it. Secret Gesture won the Oaks trial last year, went on to be second in the and in the Oaks itself, and obviously Rafe Beckett as well really targets this race.
Yeah,
he does.
He ran a few Derby winners. I mean, High Rise won here.
Well, Look Here was second in it, and then went on to win the Oaks. That was the Rafe Beckett horse as well. So I
know Jimmy Derham, our resident jockey, said it's one of the most enjoyable tracks you can actually ride at. He said he really used to enjoy the jumps meetings there. So from a jumps jockey perspective as well as flat jockey view, it obviously seems to be a good place to ride.
Well, the last winner of the Oaks was that won here was Look Now. Look here, thank you. Not Look Now, Look Here. Who, if any, got a chance of winning the Oaks this year? Is it Beckett again, possibly?
I'm hoping that none of these win the Oaks because I've backed Cambridge anti-post at a better price, along with my good friend Sam. Yeah. I quite liked Queen's Prize in this. We were talking about this extensively off air. Queen's Prize. I mentioned, is this sort of the same approach with Ballydoyle horses? You get sort of the really well-named ones, Camelot. Then sort of
I know what you mean.
Like the really proper name. Like then you got Queen's Prize, owned by the Queen. Yeah. It's only ran once over 7 furlongs, and a furlong out, we were watching it and we thought, how the hell has she got up here?
I'd love to have seen the in running.
Yeah, she's just rocketed from
the
a
extra
furlong
distance
out.
will definitely.
The extra distance is going to help.
But Kempton maiden form. Which it wasn't maiden first time out.
Yeah. You'd have to take it with a pinch of salt. Much like most horses in this race, I know the one that Sam put up ran at Lingfield on the polytrack first time out. So I don't think that turf will be a problem. I don't think soft ground will be a problem with the knee action and the way she carried herself. With Ryan Moore on board, I can see her going very close.
We're doing a lot of Ryan Moores over the
next
couple of days. Scott.
To be fair,
sorry, go on, Sam.
She was unbacked, wasn't she, that day? She went off 9-1 and Tom Quealy rode rather than obviously Mr Moore,
which would indicate the horse doesn't show much at home, because quite a few times these kind of horses
was engaged that day. You never know.
Ryan was at a bigger meeting.
Might have had the dentist.
Yeah.
Might well have done. Scott.
I've gone for the See the Stars filly in this Casual Smile. If you look at the form lines, a few months back she was second by a neck to Tagruda, and you saw what Tagruda did in Guineas weekend. She absolutely hacked up, and I believe she's 2-1, 9-4 now for the Oaks. Yeah. Paul Hannigan's got a mount in there as well. She's got a shout, but Casual Smile, I think, is the winner all over.
One I like, Kalisha. I thought it won quite well at Sandown. We've already said, we can't call him, is it Raf Beckett? Raf Beckett. He's got a couple in this race.
He's got 3.
Got 3, but that would be, on jockey bookings, it looks like Kalisha's the one, and I was quite impressed with the way the horse won at Sandown.
If you want to talk about a horse that was impressive when it won, we've got to talk about Moonrise Landing.
So you're cutting out my one completely?
It needs to improve a lot on that opening form.
Okay.
Yeah, but Moonrise Landing, it was such an eye-catching debut. We watched the video back. Yes, it was on polytrack. It was at Lingfield, and it's a real slow burn of a debut. You watch the horse, and it comes around the outside, takes the hard route, and it wears them down in the straight, and then it goes on. It's not flashy. It's not particularly, that's a bullet going like the Queen's horse is a bit more like that.
It just got wound up progressively.
Yeah, and it looks like it will go further, and it's just a sort of horse that I think, very understated debut, didn't beat necessarily a lot. But it wasn't fancied that day.
A lot of these horses haven't beaten a lot, but there's so much progression and improvement, isn't there? We've had a few winners at Kempton. I mean, Criteria, Buick Gosden, winner at Kempton. So
one on turf we've got to mention as well, On a Bound, one at Windsor, on soft as well, which probably will be getting that way, we think, possibly with Lingfield having a few more showers. Appreciate it's a bit different in certain areas. But that win at Windsor was really, I wouldn't say hard fought, but it wasn't the cleanest of runs, and then suddenly the gap appears, the horse goes, and we were mildly impressed by that when we watched it back. I think probably not the most eye-catching, but it's form on turf.
I think it got a bit lucky that day because the horse in front parted like the Red Sea. So.
And as Neil said, it's quite encouraging at this stage. There's 11 runners, because I remember watching these races, and sometimes you can have 4 or 5 in these races. So we need a selection for you for the Lingfield Oaks trial.
I'll take Queen's Prize.
Queen's Prize.
Casual Smile and Island Remedy Forecast. Straight.
Oh,
interesting.
Well, he's hoping that when it's played back on YouTube, he can say, that was my moment of glory.
Put a boom up there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to outdo you and go for the Tricast. No, I like Queen's Prize. I think that'll probably be possibly going off the favourite of the day, given the connections. And
do we have any indications? We don't.
Not at the moment, no. But I'd imagine that one will be up there. I also like Moonrise Rounding and On a Bound, so I'll have a crazy 50p Tricast on the 3, but I do think Moonrise Rounding for me is probably the one that I'm most impressed by.
So the only thing about Island Remede, you say, it started off a mark of around 69, and it's progressing, but there might be more progression in some of the others.
Yeah, there's another thing about that filly there. She looks really speedy, and that was over 6 and 7 the last 2 runs, and if she stays, she'll do all right, but I've got a doubt.
OK, next one, let's move on to the Derby trial. Aidan O'Brien has won this 3 times in the last 6 years, and again has got a couple of, he's only got a couple of entries in this race. And any one of those 2 you fancy?
Out of the 2, I fancy Blue Hussar most. I'm not really a fan of Mekong River. It won 4 times last season, then got beaten.
They sort of raced them very close together as well, didn't they?
Yeah,
around August, September time.
Mekong River's been running at lower grade tracks in Ireland and winning, but it looks a little bit awkward to me. Ran 4th in a Group 1 in France, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not overly sold about the attitude of the horse, and I'd much rather be on, again, Ryan Moore.
Right, OK.
Blue Hussar, who won nicely last time, or first time out, came from a long way back, and it was a really decent staying performance, which may be needed in conditions like these.
OK,
yeah.
Views?
Yeah, fair play to what Luke's saying, but...
So every Ryan Moore horse between now and Saturday we should be backing?
No.
Worked today pretty well at Chester.
In the Derby trial, Moon Jazz is the one for me. Paul Hannigan riding for John Gosden. He's already won over 10 furlongs, going away. Easy winner last time, and I think he stays the 11 all day long and wins quite convincingly, to be honest.
Oh, so that's one of your prime bets.
I think he's about 5 to 1 from what I can hopefully see.
Not bad.
Right.
I agree with Luke. We watched the tape back. It's the same combo that won the trial last year. 33s in the Derby market, which will undoubtedly shorten if the horse puts in some sort of fantastic performance. The only thing to obviously be aware of is the fact that Connections have so many possible entries in this race. It's hard to probably pick out what you think is going to go best. Australia is obviously everyone's hot favourite at the moment, but like I say, I think the horse will do really well. The performance was quite eye-catching. It was on softish ground as well. Ground it down, looks like it will go further in time. I don't think it'll be a problem.
And with Sun Wonder, it actually appeared in the Outstrip and True Stories race last season, but there's probably a little bit more improvement required.
Yeah, I think he's getting better with age, I think. I was there at the Craven last time. This is actually my main fancy of the race. Observational came to him, and then he went again. Then Observation went again, then he went a bit further. And then at the end, I think he was on top fairly commandingly. He didn't win by too far, he won by a head, but I think he could have gone so much further than that. And again, the step up in trip will play right into his hands.
That is a good point. I mean, when horses are coming to the other horse, it does take a lot out of them. If they're fighting for 3 furlongs, like it was that day, and it could very well improve and find the necessary.
You get also horses, if they're in a duel or in a battle, sometimes they take a long time to recover from it because they're actually competing at full pelt against.
It's the ones that don't down tools that tend to come out.
And any more thoughts? We're coming to the end. I mean, signposted or anything
signposted
else?
and Hartnell sort of had their bubbles burst because they both got beat quite easily in the Epsom Derby trial.
That's a funny trial as well.
Yeah,
it's still allowing geldings in. I don't see quite why you have a trial for a race.
No, I don't either. It was won by a gelding the other year, and I think it was Goldoni, wasn't it, that won it? Yeah. But Double Bluff will probably take them along. He's a horse that I actually really like, ran really well on reappearance. If he gets handed a soft lead, he could take a hell of a lot of catching. But other than that,
any more thoughts from this race?
Yeah, I just think it's going to be a good day at Lingfield. I hope it gets well supported because in the past we've had small runner affairs for this. And it's great to see a good trial that potentially could throw up the winner.
Well, we've got racing at Ascot, we've got racing at Haydock, so there's some good competitive racing there, and Lingfield obviously covered on terrestrial TV. So Luke, your selection on the race?
Sudden Wonder for Charlie Appleby and Mikel Barcelona.
OK. Scott?
Moon Jazz.
Moon Jazz.
Definitely.
Tentative pick of Blue Hussar, but I'd say it's a watch for the Derby. I think if you're going to be playing that market and you want to try and get past the favourite, have a watch and see what comes out of it and what impresses you.
Before we go, because we're going to be wrapping up very soon, any more of those funny little bets?
Well, I just want to highlight my own, actually. Barazan, that I put on the blog last night, opened at 10 to 1 with Paddy Power last night, went off and won at 7 to 2 today, so it pays to read the website to pick up some slightly...
and you're not blowing your own trumpet by indicating about the blog?
It's the Betracingnation blog, of course. The table goes up there, you can see who to follow and who not to follow.
Absolutely, and you can follow all our previews on Betracingnation, and we do pop up with those winners. And I'd like to thank Sam, who has done well in reading out some of your tweets today. Sorry we didn't read them all out. There was a lot more than we had the opportunity to read out. But unfortunately, being not in Twitter corner, he didn't have time to read them all out. Scott Wilson, thank you very much indeed. And Luke, thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, thank you.
We are back next Thursday at 8 o'clock. We'll see you then.